So behind me is the sunrise and a crow. I was hoping he would keep calm. He's obviously doing something important. I'm not sure if he's fighting with something or killing something, but he is not a happy crow. And you can also hear the sound of Interstate 279 at rush hour. So today's Friday, I've got a day off today, 2 more days, and then I am leaving to start a new job, and that job is going to take me to the city of Cleveland. So we'll see how that goes, but this same view somewhere else, I'm not going to know as much. It's going to be pretty exciting to explore some new things, learn some new things, and show you some new things. So I'm hoping you're enjoying this, and we'll keep it interesting. All right. Say interestingly enough. We're back at Uniondale Cemetery. This is Division 2 of Uniondale Cemetery. We were in Division 1 earlier, and we're trying to do a few of these before we change locations. There's the really beautiful old crypt. It almost looks like a log cabin or something. You could move right in. Some deer down there. I don't know if you can see him. He's down there a ways in with this. He'll probably blend in with the stones. Okay. We're on our way to one more notable figure, and I want to thank Uniondale Cemetery. These people do a phenomenal job not only maintaining these historic graves and the grounds surrounding, but they also have a really nice website that they're kind enough to list and share all of the notable people that are buried here. And that's kind of what set us off on this little adventure, was just reading those different descriptions. But I would probably say that there isn't one single person in this cemetery that probably isn't notable, because human beings are notable in their own way, with their own families, and that each and every one of these people contributed to the world that we live in now. So we are going to go visit one more for today. And I don't know, I'm hoping you can see the figure of a man standing on top, and I'm kind of shaking a little bit here, but that is where we're headed. We're headed to go see or pay our respects to the gentleman that is in this crypt over here. So this is our destination. This is the crypt of G.E. Smith, but we all know him and love him as a gentleman by the name of Pittsburgh Phil. And if you're looking at him, that is his statue right there. What we believe to be a race sheet for horse racing, he's holding in his right hand. This is probably the best horse race or horse handicapper of all time. I think when he passed away, he had amassed the equivalent of $80-some million in winnings from horse racing. And what's really interesting about him is I think he was working in a cork factory before he started studying horses and jockeys, making $5 a day or $5 a week. It was some very low amount of money he was making. I'm gonna have to look up that phrase. whatever that says, how do you say that? Reclavicent in pace. I'm wondering if that might not be a horse thing, only because it says pace. So another fun fact about this particular site, and I can put the link in the description below on the video. There was his Pittsburgh Phil's brother actually had a life-size horse made up of flowers delivered here to this very location on a Memorial Day shortly after Phil passed away. And another fact that I forgot to mention is his name is actually not Phil as in the name Phil or Philip. It's actually a shortened version of Philadelphia. So when he started to get successful, he moved to the city of Chicago, and one of his friends in the business actually gave him the nickname Pittsburgh Phil, which basically meant Pittsburgh in Philadelphia. So I thought that was another interesting fact, but hopefully I can get the picture of that horse. I believe it was in one of the Pittsburgh papers, either the Sun Telegraph, the Post Gazette, or the Pittsburgh Press. I'll try to get that picture. And here's the back side of the memorial. Those statues are so lifelike. I can actually picture him like standing in the stands and watching a horse race, or like walking up to a counter to place his bets or something with that rolled up sheet in his hand. I think that is so awesome. It's like he's forever here with us. And then you have this giant old tree next to here. I'm just amazed and fascinated by the age of these trees in this cemetery. There is one other person that we need to look for here, and that is, I believe her name is Nettie Gordon, who was the queen of the north side of Pittsburgh's underworld, and she's apparently in here as well. She was on the website. We are going to take a quick stroll through here, but I think it might be somewhat of a needle in a haystack situation, because we were in Division 3 yesterday, and I printed out all this information from the Uniondale website and actually went on a circus website to look up a man by the name of Walter L. Main, and his remains are interred here or buried here in Division 3, but his memorial is actually in Ashtabula, Ohio, which is near, I want to say it's near Cleveland. He was the originator and proprietor of the Walter L. Main Traveling Circus back in the golden age of circuses. He never would have crossed paths with David Navarro Jr., who we covered yesterday, but the unfortunate newsworthy event that happened was a train wreck that actually ended up killing, I believe, 5 of his workers and a whole bunch of circus animals outside of Tyrone, PA. We will look for Walter L. Main again. I would love to see if they have his grave marked here. And we are definitely going to try to find Nettie Gordon. There's 2 deer trotting off here, and no kidding, they almost stepped right on a groundhog. So it is dangerous to be a groundhog, whether you're on the road or in a cemetery. So we'll take a look for Nettie now. Hello everyone, I promised you an update on the white flowers. Maybe you don't care as much as I do, or maybe it's just that I said I was going to look. So I'm back up here by the reservoir, ending my day up here. with Sophie, and let's take a look at these flowers, shall we? So these are the white flowers I'm talking about. We looked up on the internet, and apparently these are a poisonous variety of flowers that's native to the area that apparently caused something called milk sickness in early settlers. These flowers, when cows would eat them, it would poison the milk, and in fact it would poison the meat. And we were reading online, my wife and I, and apparently there's a speculation that milk sickness from this particular plant is what killed Abraham Lincoln's mother. And you can see there's just seeds of it, so you could see if you were settling an area and you had grazing animals, you could see how that might taint the milk or the meat. And I'm wondering, because there's a program around here that utilizes goats to clear invasive species like the knotweed and a lot of the climbing roots we have, and I'm wondering if this doesn't make the goats sick. That might be something to look up and see if that's something they've had to deal with. But again, I'm not sure if I've ever noticed this many of the plants flowering, and I'll have to look and provide a link maybe in the description of the video, and you all can do a bit more research. I'm not sure what part of the plant, maybe the whole plant, is poisonous. But we also have other really poisonous plants, hemlock being one of them. And I'll let you guys do that research. But the other thing I'm wondering is if that's the hemlock that they used to poison Socrates, because I believe they dumped some sort of hemlock concoction in his ear to kill him. But with that being said, not to get too morbid, I booked my room for my first week's stay in Cleveland, and I feel a lot better having that off my plate. I have my itinerary and my schedule for the next 4 weeks out there. Really excited about the room. It's a Motel 6 in, I'll give you the name, I want to say Richville or Rich something. And it's close to a national park out there, a reservation, and hopefully, and I can't make any promises because I know I'm going to be wiped out at the end of every day, maybe, just maybe, I'll get to do a little exploring around there and let you know what that part of the world looks like. And maybe, definitely actually, going to be showing you a lot more in Cleveland, and hopefully a lot more in the Pittsburgh area and everything in between. What my hope is for this channel is that I get to go to some more areas and advise you of some more places. Another thing I was thinking about today is down, you probably can't see it like this, but if you look down there, there is a ball field, and I have some other video. I'll include it here. I'll include it as part of this. Roger, I want to say Schwedler, but you'll see it in the next segment. I'm going to include his name. This is a memorial field for him. I'm sorry, Sophie's she's gonna drag me away. This dog would be a great sled dog. I've got a lot to tell you. I might do a whole video on Dalmatians and how awesome and challenging they are. And maybe you all get a Dalmatian after you see it, but these animals are incredible. But anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, this ball field. I was looking up this guy's name. Did a memorial field for him in 1977, I believe, and I can't find a darn thing on him. And I think it's kind of sad because even on the map, the field doesn't really bear his name. So I'm just wondering, you know, what he was famous for, or what he did in the community. I'm sure he was a coach of some sort, maybe a teacher. And I think that a lot of times they name things after people, and so many years go by that everyone forgets who they were or what they did. So I'm going to do a little more digging and try to find something on him. It'd be nice to at least figure out who he was, what he did, maybe revitalize his memory a little bit. But yeah, for now I'm going to try to compile a little bit more information for you, do a little bit more planning. We went up to the Depreciation Lands Museum today, and I just didn't have it in me to do a video. Expect to see something on that, and because it's not something that has a lot of coverage on the internet, and it has a lot to do with what happened after the Revolutionary War, and how a lot of the land that was being settled was divvied up. So hopefully I can get more of a description or a video for that together for you all. Today was just kind of one of those weird days that we were kind of inundated in getting ready for my trip next week. So a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, you know, that goes along with making a big move, and it's not something we've ever done before. So trying to keep a stiff upper lip, as one person just told me to do. So anyway, for now, this is PD signing off. Come on, Soph. Sophie, come on.